Hi, everyone, and welcome to Empowering the Opposition. My name is Dr. Nafis Alam, and I'm joined today by Serkan Talip. And our topic today, well, I should say Serkan is making his podcasting debut. And our topic today will be the bromance, forming and maintaining independent friendships in our 30s. Serkan, you're 39 years old. I'm 37 years old. Talk about, if you would, how it's different forming and maintaining friendships in your 30s versus what you experienced in your 20s and in your teens.
First, I'd like to say thank you for having me on your podcast. The 20s and 30s is completely a different mentality. In your 20s, you're all about partying, and really, I don't know if I ever even really thought about male friends. It was all about the moment. I think in your 30s, you're more focused on deeper connections and people who help to improve you as a person. So I think, honestly, meeting or being friends with somebody is probably a harder choice for me than dating women. So to me, I think I'm more strict on who I would make my buddy than I would my girlfriend.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I remember in my teens and my 20s, I wasn't too concerned with having bros, having, guy friends. It was always about, chasing girls and stuff like that. But the older I get, the more I realize that, that you have to surround yourself with a good, I wouldn't say a good quantity, but definitely good quality of people that are your friends, that have your back, that'll tell you everything that you don't want to hear and stuff like that, So, having these quality friends, the older you get, the more important it becomes, it seems. And you're absolutely, my experience has been the same in that in my teens and in my 20s too, it was just different. It was, I was just around more people. I'm sure you were too. But now, as a professional, those social interaction opportunities don't come around as often as they used to. And as a result, when they do come around, you cherish them even more. And I feel like, friendships in your 30s and probably in our 40s and 50s too, they'll just mean a lot more than what they did in our teens and 20s because, just like you've mentioned, this is now a choice. We don't go to school together. We don't work together. You and I don't work together. We've made a choice to be, friends with one another. And that's the case with most people in their 30s and 40s, is that they're not in regular social interaction settings anymore. So friendship now becomes a true choice. And you really have a lot of control over the choices that you make in regards to who you surround yourself with. So, when you do surround yourself with good people, you tend to appreciate it a lot more because you're making the right choices. And, when it comes to significant other stuff, I think it's also important to understand that another thing that I'm realizing as I get older is that, going on vacations, going out to dinners, just enjoying life, living a fulfilling life does not require the prerequisite of having a girlfriend or a wife, let's say. Last year, we went to New Orleans for New Year's. And we just got back from Cabo. It was for New Orleans, it was 3 single guys, yep. Me, you, and Dave. And for Cabo, it was me and you, 2 single guys. And, we had a lot of fun in both trips. And, we were surrounded by a lot of couples. I'll give you that. But, that didn't mean that we weren't enjoying it. We might have enjoyed ourselves a little too much.
Oh, definitely. I think we definitely had more fun than the couples.
Yeah.
I agree. At times, it's great to go on vacation with your girlfriend or a lady friend or whatnot, but I don't think anything beats going out with the bros. I mean, there's no judgment. We're pretty much out there to have fun. We have thicker skin. We can make fun of each other. Nobody's going to cry. We know we're not going to get upset. And hey, we're on vacation together, but we're also on vacation separately. So I think
that's why I'm describing this episode as independent friendships, because I think what makes a bromance so unique is that, if you remember New Orleans,
yep.
and you remember Cabo, there were plenty of times where we were just doing our own thing. And we would run across each other, cool. Like we weren't like we didn't have to have lunch together. We didn't have to have breakfast together. We didn't have to work out together. In New Orleans, we didn't have to go out for coffee together. I really like coffee. Dave likes cigars, so, we did our own thing, but it wasn't anything, there wasn't an expectation that we would do things together, nor was there an expectation that we would do things separately. It was such an organic experience that, if at any point, like, we just get tired of each other. So, like, I love you to death. You know that.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
like,
Same here, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes you just, you need space. You need quiet.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the beauty of a bromance is that we never take that personally. And we just do our own thing because there's just other things that we can do. And I think that's where the independent friendship stuff comes in, is that now in your 30s, when you're making these choices, I think in my teens and my 20s, and you correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you had a different experience, but in my teens and my 20s, I would feel like if I'm somewhere with friends, I need to go everywhere with them because I'm just a part of this particular group. But in my 30s, and hopefully in my 40s and 50s too, I can't imagine it being any different. Like, I'll just feel more and more independent, and all the friendships that I have, you'll be there, I'll be there, they'll be there, and things like that. I might pass by you while I'm doing my own thing, and we'll say hi, give each other a high five, but just continue doing our own thing. And I think that's part of the beauty of a bromance, is that there's an independent factor to it.
Yeah, and I totally agree. In the 20s, it was way more cliquey. You had your set group of friends, couples, etc., and you hung out always together. And if you didn't, it was strange.
Yeah.
And it was uncomfortable, or there was some drama that you had in college and in your 20s. In the 30s, again, like I said before, I'm very picky. I know you are too with friends. There's a lot of guys out there that are very, get attached right away, or like won't let you go. I've had many male friends I've made that just... you didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel organic. And I agree. It's very tough finding good friends. That's why I'm so happy to have found you and Dave.
I'm happy too. Yeah.
And again, I'd rather have two good friends, great friends, than have 10 whatever friends who are never there for you and don't even really care about you.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You and I, without naming names, of course, right? You and I have been talking about some other friends that you have that are a little bit more clingy, right? That
Yes.
that you don't necessarily want to go on vacation with. Can you speak about that without using their names?
Well, I mean, I've had experiences where, you felt like you were, either on vacation or you felt obligated to hang out with them, and they didn't understand what it means to be a bro. I mean, honestly, to be a bro means we're out together, but we're out separate. If I meet a girl, I'm going to jump and run, and it's no big deal. You go do your own thing.
Exactly.
And you want your bro to be confident and, independent. You don't want somebody who's just going to latch on. And I've realized there's two groups of bros out there. One that are confident with themselves, and then you have the others that are insecure and they need that attachment. And I'm the one, I don't like the attachment. I mean, we're all adults. We should all be able to do our own thing, and it shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if I want the attachment, I'll get a girlfriend.
Right, that's true. That's true. I also think, like, from a psychological aspect, and we talked about this not recently, but I do remember us talking about it. It's just like when the bros that attached to you, for example, they sort of need you to be the fullback in leading them into spaces where they may not have access.
Yes.
Right? Because you're social. You're good looking, you have more social access. You're talkative, people like you. You have social access, and those guys might want that level of social access. So they feel like if they latch on, maybe they'll get access to the same kinds of social access that you have.
Yes, and I have experience with that as well. I had somebody invite me out one time, and they were like, "Oh, I'm alone, and I want to go pick up ladies." And I was like, "So you're calling me to pick up ladies?" I was like, to me, first of all, before we even get to that level, I need to feel comfortable with you. So me wanting to pick up ladies with you is something that's very intimate, I think.
Yeah,
and it's something I would do with somebody that I feel comfortable with, and not just any guy, and also it just doesn't feel right. And I don't know. And I guess I'm getting older, more of an emotional thing. So I feel like, oh, so we're only out here till you can find a woman, and then you're gonna disappear again, which is another issue. I have a lot of guys I've met. The second they have girlfriends, they disappear. And that to me is immature friendship. It's not real friendship. I don't want that. I want people who value friendship.
Yeah, that's difficult, right? Because you have a finite period of time. You are a very successful professional, and your time is limited. And as a result, if you were to have a girlfriend, and hopefully one day, if you were to have a wife and kids, it's not unreasonable to think that the amount of time that you have for me, for example, your bro, like you wouldn't have that much time. And if you would think that, obviously I would understand that, right? But I don't know that necessarily the goal is to maintain that amount of time allocation, but just to know that we got each other's back. And that's the part of the independence too, is that we'll go do our own thing, we'll live our own separate lives. You're in Jersey, I'm in Idaho. We're legit living our own separate lives. But we know that we can call each other anytime. We text each other probably 2 or 3 times a day, right? When you're out there.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that can be maintained, whether you have a girlfriend, whether you have a wife, whether you have kids or not. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, anytime I've had a girlfriend, I've never alienated any of my friends. I've always made time for people when they need me. Of course, priorities are priorities, and your family would be priority. But again, like you and me and a couple other of my friends, we could not talk for maybe 2 months, and then we'll start talking like it was just like we've been talking yesterday.
Yeah.
So, and it never skips a beat. But with some people, it's just, a situation where you won't talk to them for 2 months, and then they'll contact you, and their first question's, let's go out pick up girls. I'm bored. That's not my idea of. I mean, you can already tell their intention. Their intention is selfish.
Yeah, they don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
They want to use your social value to leverage your social value for their own benefit. But yeah, I mean, I think that lends itself to the quality element of it too. Because if you had 10 great friends, you wouldn't have enough time to spend texting them, talking with them, blah blah blah, right? But if you've got 2 friends or maybe even 5 really great friends, it's not that difficult to stay in touch with them, and just let them know what's going on in your life. I think that's, the older you get, the more you value quality. And I noticed that even the way that I eat.
Yes.
Right? Yesterday we had some awesome steak, and it wasn't a lot of food. That steak was probably about 8 ounces. Yeah. 20-year-old me would have been like, let me get the biggest ribeye, 16, 24, let's get it.
I've seen you eat a 24.
Exactly. But yesterday, I was happy with an 8-ounce filet because it's just the quality of the meat, man. It's not about how much meat there is. It's about the quality of the meat, how good that meat is. And I feel like this is such a weird analogy to make with food and friends, but I feel the same way about friends too, is that it's not about having a whole bunch of friends, It's about having the best friends that you can possibly have to surround you, and that they've got your back, and you genuinely want to get their back too.
Yeah, I agree, and that leads to the other fact is, again, quality of life. I mean, you could be single, and life is not that bad if you have the right friends, and you could be halfway around on the other side of the country, and you still feel like you're not that far apart.
Yeah, exactly. And I think really the point here of this particular episode of the podcast is to help people understand that, significant other relationship is not the only way to experience, socialization, interaction, and having someone to talk with and to connect with. You can have that in a friendship. Obviously, the sexual element would not be there, but you can have the social element, interaction, and things like that. You can also do all this on your own, because you've taken lots of trips on your own.
Yes.
I've taken 3-4 trips on my own, but you have a lot more experience on that. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, as a person, it throws you out there on an island where you have to make friends. So again, when you go traveling alone, it's completely different than traveling with your bro. You're just out there to make connections. And meet new people and have new experiences. And again, if you're not a social person, it could be difficult. But if you go with the flow, I mean, if you were to go on my Instagram, I would say 80% of the people who are on there are people I've met all over the world, guys and girls. And anytime they go on vacation, they'll message me, oh, look, do you want to join me? Anytime I go on vacation, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm going here. Do you want to join me? So, and if you go to different states, I've had a couple of people come to New York and stay at my place a couple of days. So, I mean, it's not the typical, we're our topic on bros, but it's a type of quality connection with people who like to travel, who are travel like culture, and who don't just sit home and pine all day.
But I think that's part of the bromance too, is just doing things on your own, not necessarily with your bros. It's like you took so many trips on your own, and I checked your Instagram too, and I'm like, wow, dude's been really well traveled, and you talk about your experiences a lot. Some of the things I'd never do, like stay in a hostel. I'm not about that life, but you're a lot more adventurous than I am. And I'm also very risk averse. I would not, if we could talk about Cabo, I don't mind. Like, our listeners can know how risk averse I am. I would not leave the resort to go downtown, but you did.
To me, you don't live until you really get deep down dirty and like with the locals. And I mean, I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. It's it's like anything,
Yeah.
Like you trying to get into a boxing ring. I mean, you ain't gonna see me getting into a boxing ring and get my face punched in. Anytime soon.
Exactly. To each their own. And
yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I love you so much, is because like we respect you. You didn't force me to go downtown in Cabo, knowing that I just did not feel comfortable in that kind of setting.
But I will call you out and bitch you out.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What,
and I will make fun of you.
Of course. And you said this. You said this in Cabo. Because I forget what it was you said. You thought that I took it personally, which I didn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, like I wouldn't make fun of you if I didn't love you.
Yes, I wouldn't curse at you if I didn't love you.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. If I don't feel comfortable with you, I'm not going to make fun of you, and I'm not going to curse at you. So if I'm cursing at you and insulting you, means I love you, and I want to like beat you a little bit, so because you're not doing what I'm doing.
And but that's another like amazing part of having a bromance, is that like we're not walking on eggshells around each other. You tell me a lot of things that I don't want to hear about the way I talk to people, for example. But it's that's what a real friend is. Like you tell them what they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
It takes a real friend to tell you what you don't want to hear. But like back on the topic of just like solo bro trips, and just going out there and like meeting new people. You do sort of need to be social, but it also gives you an opportunity to get out of your comfort zone and force yourself to be social if you're not. And if you already are social, then obviously it's going to be a little bit easier for you. My experience has been very similar too in the solo trips that I've taken, that, when I'm out there and I'm just, having fun and just enjoying myself, I'll just do whatever. Like I don't drink any alcohol.
Yes.
And at the same time, not drinking, I'll be the first to break out into a dance. I'll floss on you. I'll dab on you. I'll whatever, And
I'll say you're the only guy who doesn't drink that I do trust.
Oh, I appreciate
everybody
that.
else I do not trust if they don't drink.
Same thing with karaoke, man.
Yeah.
Like I just don't have to drink. So like I feel like, a lot of people who are probably listening to this podcast are pretty introverted, and they feel like they need someone else to do something before they feel comfortable to do it themselves. Why not be the person that sets the table? Like, I understand, like, I've been to weddings and I don't drink. I'm always the first one in the middle of the dance floor. I'm like, what? Everybody's like, what is he doing? Like, why is he doing that? I'm like, but like that gets other people comfortable. Karaoke's first. No one sounds like Luke Combs, man. Yeah. But I'll sing
I
like.
definitely don't.
But I'm out there just like belting it because like it makes other people feel comfortable. When you're trying to be like someone else, trying so hard to be like someone else, what you're not realizing is that someone else is trying so hard to be like you, So you just have to have that confidence in yourself and just understand that people are looking at you in a way that you might be looking at other people.
Yeah, and that's why having a good bro and friends is very important, because again, you don't feel like, I think a lot of people think everybody's judging them when they go out, like you're talking about weddings and all that, feel judged.
Yeah.
Again, it all comes down to that. You don't feel judged when you're around the people you love and people who you trust and your circle and somebody close. You can do everything, all right, maybe I got drunk, I fell off the stage. I know I ain't going to be yelled at for that, or, yes, we'll make fun of each other, but
of course, yeah.
What happens on vacation stays on vacation.
Unless it's on a podcast, right?
That is true. All I gotta say is, I love you, man.
I love you too, brother.
I don't need no woman to be happy.
There you go.
You just need your bro. I mean, of course, it'll be great, icing on the cake, but
Absolutely. Life is fulfilling the way that it is. You don't need anything added, and you definitely don't need anything subtracted. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'm Dr. Nafis Alam, joined here by the podcast debut of Serkan Talip.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And this has been Empowering the Opposition. See you next time.